this is Spikeydrummer again, and I'm excited to present to you a request video. And believe me, I have a whole bunch of requests, and I try to fit them into my lessons and everything like that. And I swear to you, if you've got a request to me, it will come out, and it will come out soon. But right now, I decided to pick a request by somebody who asked me to do a song that was very surprising, called Days Go by Dirty Vegas. Now, I'm not big into the whole pop music thing, but and that's why I didn't even know what it was when they asked. So I went and looked, and to my surprise, it was a techno song without any live drums at all. So anyways, I thought it'd be kind of cool to cross over into the world of pop and see if we can get our drum set to sound remotely close to something that an electronic loop is on this song by a DJ. So anyways, here we go. Thank you for your requests. I'm going to show you a couple cool things that we can do with this beat after we've learned it in its entirety. Many of you may have heard, you know, the standard techno drum beat or whatever, and if you have an electronic kit, you can really make this sound kind of cool. I'm not the biggest techno or pop fan, but anyways, it's always fun to kind of mess around with this sort of thing. So anyways, the basis of this beat is a very strong and important thing to learn, especially as a beginner drummer, is how to build a beat around a solid bass pattern. All that the drummer is doing, or the electronic kit or whatever is doing, is just keeping a consistent single bass stomping. Okay, you may think it odd that we're learning about, you know, like electronic kit or whatever, but there's many different drums, especially in the pop realm, that play with this, people call it 4 on the floor kind of drum style. That means the bass is going 4 beats per measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, 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 boom. 4 on the floor. So that's what we're going to learn how to do, is build a drum beat around 4 on the floor. So anyways, for this particular drum beat, the drummer is actually playing this 4 on the floor pattern and then alternating the hi-hat out in the empty spaces opposite of the bass hit. So it's going to be something like this. So anyways, when you've got this right and left thing going on with your bass, be sure you count in your head, and then you just throw in a snare in there on 2 and 4, just like this. This is actually a very good exercise to prepare you for many different drum levels, because you're teaching your hands to get used to hitting the snare at the same time as the bass, getting good volume out of it. You're also learning how to kind of separate the limbs a little bit more. You got your bass going at a consistent, your hi-hat going at a consistent, and your snare going at a consistent. And that's what we do in drums, is we keep our limbs doing different things. So when you sit and practice that, you pretty much have the entirety of the beat. Now, let's actually take this drum beat a little bit further now, and work on adding a couple different things to spice it up or make it sound a little different and a little bit cooler. So here we go. Okay, so here's one way that we can spice this drum beat up. All you're doing is basically the first time around in the measure, you're playing it normally, just like you learned in the first couple minutes of this video. And now, what you're doing on the second measure is you're using your right hand instead of your left hand to be the snare striker, and you're going to continue to strike it on 2 and 4, but on top of that, you're just going to have a left-right pattern going along with that. You're just going to throw in a little ghost note in there to make the snare have a little bit more of like a skip sound, like this. That's all you're doing. It's just kind of a da-da, just like that. Add the flam or the left-right pattern in there when you're getting ready to hit the 4 on the second time around. Here's another way you can spice this drum beat up a little bit. This may not sound too difficult, but it's actually kind of a cool way to get the coordination going again with your feet and your hands. Especially for you beginner drummers, tear this thing up. It will really show you how to work around the drum set and get coordination going with your hands and feet. All I'm doing really to make this a lot easier is I'm just stomping both feet at the same time, lifting up the hi-hat and closing it at the same time as I'm hitting the bass. So you're just going to have a motion like this. Notice how both legs are moving up and down at the same time. And then we're just playing that drum beat that we just spiced up. We'll be just striking the hi-hat, you know, normally with it opening and closing as you would as the beat at the very beginning. So, here we go. I'm going to show you one more way to spice up this drum beat, and we're going to change things around with the hands again a little bit more. So here's what it sounds like. basically we're turning this into kind of more of a groove now. The best way to practice for this, and this is all that you're going to be doing with your hands, is this. You've basically got those two ghost notes right after the hi-hat, and then the hi-hat hits again, and then you got the hard snare strike. So it sounds like this. Add the bass in there whenever you've got that down pat. And another thing you will notice when you put the bass pattern in there, that it's going to sound really different from when you were practicing with your hands. Just get used to that. It's going to mess with your brain a little bit. Once you have it, you've got it, and you're going to feel it, and then you're like, oh, I can do different things like this, and you're going to understand what it means to kind of do that whole shuffle pattern. Okay, this is a really cool way to start incorporating different movements with your hands and feet, separating them. That's what we're working on, is limb separation. And not the violent way, like we've talked about before, not limb separation, but separation in the mind and getting that whole arm, leg, foot working in separate different ways so that they can be individual beings of musical creation.